Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Damon. Haven't seen me in a while, but guess what? Now you see me again. So basically I decided to upload today. What a surprise. But you may be wondering, what is it that I am uploading? Like, it has to be for some special reason, right? It has to. Well, guess what? Because it is something special. Because today, I have decided to go back to movie reviews.
Damon, wasn't the last time you made a movie review, it turned out to be your worst video ever?
You're darn right, kiddo, it was. But that's because it was a live stream. And this video is not a live stream, so it has to be better. It has to, right? It is, right? If I'm doing movie reviews, I have to make it something special. Something with some pizzazz. And what is it that I am reviewing? Well, if you read the title, you know what I'm gonna review. I'm gonna review my depression. Oh wait, it says here that I'm reviewing the Norman & North films. Same thing. If you know me, like any way you know me, you know that I hate these movies. I hate the solitary existence of these movies. Up to a point, like, if anyone mentions them during, like, lunch or something, I will literally spend, like, an hour-long rant about why I hate these movies. And it's kind of gotten to a point where if I tell someone about it, I probably wouldn't even be finishing it by the time lunch is over. So, I can't really express my opinions in that time frame. So that's why I decided to make this movie review. So now I don't need to waste my breath on trying to talk to people about it. Instead, they can just watch this video instead. But you may be wondering, why does Damon hate these movies? I mean, why? Why is it that he hates these films so much? I mean, it has to be for some reason, right? Well, guess what? It is for some reason. And the reason why is everything. But if I want to convince you on why I hate these movies, I gotta start from the beginning. I gotta review the first movie. Also, before I begin, I just want to let you guys know that all these movies are 0 out of 10 movies. By default, and any future movies I make after this video, default are getting 0 out of 10. That is in case if I even review them. Which, guess what? I actually am gonna review all Norman North movies. I'm basically gonna make this big list at the end of this video, ranking all the Norman North films, at least released at this point. And what I'll do inside those other videos is I'll compare them to that list. And by ratings, I know they all get 0 out of 10, but you may be wondering, what does each rating mean to Damon? Well, guess what? Here is a list right here of how I basically summarize each rating. But you may notice, 0 out of 10 has no word. I haven't discovered a word yet. So, and basically, because all these films are 0 out of 10s, what I decided to do is that I'll look back at them, and then after looking back at all of them, I'll realize what is a 0 out of 10 movie. And by the end of this video, I'll find a meaning for a 0 out of 10. But, enough about all that stuff. It's about time you realize and know why I hate Norman North. And everything that represents and why I hate it, and I wish it was dead. But where am I going to begin? Well, it's kind of obvious. It's the first movie. What did you expect? Okay, personal story. So, one day, it was 2016, January. Me and my grandpa and my sisters were gonna go watch Star Wars The Force Awakens. But apparently, we were too naive and didn't expect how big of a movie it was. And basically, all the screenings were basically sold out. And we had a couple of things to do. Go home, go eat, watch another movie, or go to Chuck E. Cheese. Hey, I was 9. Give me some slack. No, we didn't want to go home. Because, well, we were with our grandpa and we didn't really just want to leave. And we didn't want to eat because, well, we literally just did. So we decided, why don't we just watch another movie? But the only other movie that was in the theater that we could have watched was Norman North. Now, even though I was 9, just by the trailers alone, I knew I didn't want to see it. I thought it was going to be garbage. Even 9-year-old Damon had standards. But apparently, my two sisters wanted to watch it for some reason. And by majority rules, we watched the movie. And I hated every single minute of it. And regretted ever seeing him on screen. But enough about that personal story aside. Was it just my personal experience that made me not like Norm? Why don't we just find out? Okay. So, if we want to have a good movie in our hands, we gotta have a story. We gotta have a bonito story. It has to be brilliant. So, is Norman and North's story good? The answer is no. So basically, it's basically about this polar bear named Norm, who for some reason, literally for no reason whatsoever, has the power to talk to humans. No reason at all. So you think, oh, maybe the movie's gonna be about that. Well, no, it's not. Because apparently one day he basically discovers this company ran by this dude called Mr. Green, where he puts and he makes, I kid you not, homes in the Arctic. The idea alone is so stupid. I cannot even comprehend how the writers came up with this idea. Like, think about it. Let's just say if people actually didn't make homes in the Arctic, like, right now. That would be the dumbest idea on planet Earth. Why do you want to go live in the Arctic? You want hypothermia? Yeah, anyway, it's stupid. But that's not the movie yet either. Because then, one day, Norm decides, hey, I should go to New York so I convince the company to stop the condos. So you think, oh yeah, it's just basically him trying to stop the condos in the Arctic. But the things that happen there are almost completely insane. So basically, Mr. Green, he decides,
let's use the Arctic to sell the Arctic. Booyah!
And I guess that kind of explains what he's trying to do. In the most weird way possible. And then, so basically when Norm comes in, he thinks, hey, I can use this dude as a way for me to sell my homes. Because for some reason, New York thinks Norm is an actual human in a bear suit. New York is full with idiots. I swear, they're filled with the most brain-dead people on planet Earth. But then, just at like one point where Mr. Green actually thinks that he actually is a bear, and then he tries to shoot him in like this like restaurant or whatever. But for some reason, the video goes viral, and for some reason, it helps them with their product. How? I guess it's publicity, but oh yeah, seeing our company owner try to shoot a man. Oh yeah. Oh my god, we should buy these homes from this guy. Oh yeah. And then Norm becomes a celebrity for some reason. But then at the end of the movie, he finds out Mr. Green kidnapped his grandfather. For some reason. And then the rest of the movie is just him saving his grandfather. You know, just by that summary alone, you can tell that this plot is insane. It really is. It feels like people just scrambled up a bunch of random and different ideas and they just put them together. But it can't be that bad. Is there anything about the story that kind of makes it more better? There has to be something that can stand up for it, and then you'll be like, oh, well, maybe the humor. But come on, there has to at least be some humor in it, and there is. And what do you think it's gonna be about? Clever commentary, nice slapstick, clever jokes. What do you... Barton poop jokes, what did you expect? They don't have even the decency of being funny. Look, I like fart and poop jokes. I'm kind of a sucker for them. I'm a kind of an immature person. But I only like them when they're done right. And 99% of the time, they are done terribly, and I hate it. And this movie is basically a prime example of why... of how bad they can be. And they're supplied by one of the worst characters I've ever seen in history, the Lemmings. I'll talk about them later, but yeah, they're terrible. There is one scene where they pee in a fish tank for 30 seconds. Yeah. Now, the humor's trash and the story makes absolutely no sense. Is there something of value in here? Is there anything that is in any form of value in here? Well, kind of. This movie has an environmental message. Now, environmental messages, on paper, they sound like a good idea. They make your movie give out a positive message. But in most movies, particularly animated ones, they are done terribly and they just feel forced in. And this movie isn't even that. Instead, this movie's environmental message is stupid. Because their entire environmental message is basically how you should not sell homes in the Arctic. I already mentioned earlier that's a dumb idea. So why do you have it as an environmental message? No one's ever gonna do that. I mean, I guess it's like, oh hey, look, I know that you're president and all, it's a nice privilege, but just don't make homes in the Arctic. Why would I do that? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. How much brain cells do you have, fine sir? Is that exactly what they're trying to do? I hope the writers do feel proud of themselves for this. But that's just the story. There has to be something else that's good about this. Is it the animation? Well, it's not. It's not even close. You cannot comprehend about this. Got the A-OK to go into theaters. Like, it is so bad. I literally cannot even understand how a movie person would have just been like, oh yeah, I can't wait to show that to everyone in my movie theater. You're serious, right? Oh yeah, totally. The textures are basically non-existent. The backgrounds are basically completely made out of plastic. The effects are pretty bad. But the worst part is the character animation, the character design. The character animation, for one, for some reason is very inconsistent. On the most part, it's mostly like stiff. Like almost like a Flash PowerPoint. But then there's one character, Mr. Green. His character animation is so weird, and he's the only character who moves like it. So you know those inflatable balloon people like in front of like gas stations? That's not what basically Mr. Green moves like. And it's weird. It's like he has no bones. Does he have bones? I don't think he does. And the character designs, I mean, I guess they would look good on paper, but in CGI, oh god, it is not good at all. The proportions are always so weird, and with a combination of all the other bad stuff, it makes them look completely hideous. Here's some screenshots of hideous characters I found inside this movie. These characters gave me nightmare fuel for like an entire year. But all that aside, we must look at the characters. Are they good? Well, at this point, you gotta know the answer. Let's start with our amazing protagonist, Norm of the North. He's not a good character. He's basically the average bumbling idiot, but more dumb and voiced by Rob Schneider. Now we get the antagonist, Mr. Green, voiced by Ken Jeong. That doesn't excuse his character though. This character is so weird and is just a terrible antagonist whatsoever. And he's just bad. He's not threatening in any way. And he has to be stupid. Because he makes homes in the Arctic. Now, Ken Jeong, I thank you for making this role not be so terrible. This role could have been so much worse. And I am so thankful that Ken Jeong didn't completely ruin it. And at least it doesn't look like he was having the worst time. I mean, he probably did. But he hit it up pretty good. So, bravo, Ken Jeong. Now we get some of the other human characters. There's this nerd girl who's all smart. Her character is, oh, I'm so smart. I don't like how my mom works for, like, Mr. Green all the time. I wish she could hang out with me some more. And her mother is no better either. She's basically just bland and generic, and she also falls for the, ooh, I'm so busy at work. No, don't touch me. My work is gonna fall. Oh no, my work fell. Something I forgot to mention about the girl is that basically she reminds Norm like almost every 5 minutes to save the Arctic. From what? Homes? All the other Arctic animals basically are pointless and meh. And the citizens in New York are basically brain dead. But there's these other characters, 3 of them in fact, that are probably the worst characters in cinema history. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the Lemmings. They are really bad. I mean, I kid you not, they are terrible. They're like Minions, but at least they're not even good to look at. They are basically so annoying, so not funny, and so... Oh my god, they're bad, dude. They really are. They are terrible. They also do slapstick, where for some strange reason, like if anyone like stomped on them inside the movie, they would just like come like flat, and then they would just go back to normal. And that got me thinking, are they immortal? They need to be immortal. Because it feels like if I dropped a building on them, they would be fine. So are they immortal?
You're invincible!
Holy crap, they are immortal. What the heck? It was just a joke. I didn't actually mean it. What the heck? What? But yeah, so what have we learned? Never make a movie like this ever again. But apparently, I guess it did good enough that they decided, oh yeah, we should definitely make a franchise out of this. Anyways, well, let's just move on. Let's move on to the impeccable sequel. Now, is this movie one of the best sequels ever made? Is it better than the original? Well, come closer. Come closer. Come closer. Come here closer. It's actually worse. Now, if I was being honest, this movie probably is the worst out of any of these movies. It has the worst story, has the worst animation, has the worst characters. But yet again, I feel like I have a more personal hatred to the first one than I have to this one. Like, I literally just saw this movie on Netflix. So how bad is it? Let's find out. We gotta look at the story first. And you know how I mentioned inside the first one how it kind of felt like bits and pieces of something all meshed together? Well, this one literally feels like 2 movies just put together. And actually, when I was looking it up, it actually is. Like, they were originally supposed to get 2 movies, because now they're going straight to video. But now, they just mushed them together and put it as one. And it clearly shows. Because the biggest problem with it is that if none of the stories make absolutely no sense together. But what is it about? Well, so at first it's basically, oh, Norm is coming, the king of the Arctic, because I guess he was going to be a king in the first movie. Another forgotten plot point that no one cared about. But then he gets a call saying that he's going to get the keys to New York. Why? Okay. All he did in the first movie was just basically shut down a corporation. Are you telling me that just by shutting down a corporation, you can basically get the key to New York? Well, screw this. Instead, I'm gonna go expose McDonald's. Okay, bye, guys. Is that the reality that this franchise live in? Is it? So basically, he gets the key to New York, everything seems fine. Oh, yes, the movie may finally end. Yes, at least it wasn't longer. Then you check the running time, it actually is longer. And basically, Norm gets framed for something. For some reason. By someone. Spoiler alert, but I really think no one cares. It was the mayor. I don't think anyone really cared. It is so obvious. To the point where I literally guessed it as soon as the mayor went on scene. And then basically, that part is basically them finding out who's the mayor, because I guess everyone has no brain cells. But then the movie ends. But you're only halfway done. Because apparently, when Norm gets back, he basically left his brother Stan, like, while Norm was gone. He was basically a jerk. Basically, he was being a jerk to everyone while Norm was gone, acting like he was on top and stuff. And and I guess they like played hockey while Norm was gone for some reason. But then while Norm is there, he finds that like this company that I believe is working for the mayor. Why do I say this? Because they work for a company that the mayor was promoting. Well, not really promoting, but was like standing in front of like a sign for the company, I guess. So I guess they were working for him, but they don't mention it. But yeah, then basically Norm sees them. I kid you not, this is more stupid than the homes in the Arctic thing. They steal ice from the Arctic to make water. And Norm's just like, no, I don't like that. I need to put an end to this. They can't steal ice. And he challenges them to a hockey match. Basically, the rest of the movie is just some very cliched hockey game and sports movie. And the plot makes absolutely no sense, and it doesn't fit well together, like in any way, shape, and form. But what also is worse is the animation. Look, I know these movies are made direct to video, and I knew this animation was gonna get worse, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. Like, I know, like I said, the first one I showed you guys screenshots. Well, I have found more that are probably even more terrifying. Now that gave me nightmares for 2 years. I guess that kind of explains it. It's like it's so much worse. The designs are worse, the backgrounds are worse, the effects are worse, everything is worse. Can't add anything on to that. Now the characters. We have Norm, it's basically the same. Idiotic and stupid. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot about the lemmings. Oh, yeah. They're basically, in the movie. They're also bad. But, like, for all the sequels, it's like the movie acts like, oh, the lemmings are gonna stay here, and basically Norm's just like, you guys can't come with us. But then they find a way to come on. And it feels like they're completely rickrolling us. I mean, come on. We just want them gone. But no, you still put them in. What's wrong with you? But we also got some new characters. Ooh. And in case you guys haven't knew, basically at the end of the first movie, Norm has kids. And the main one is his son, Quinn. I hate him. And basically, it feels like with every movie, his character resets and his entire character trait is like, oh, I'm embarrassed on my dad, Norm. It makes me so embarrassed. And it resets almost every single movie. And I don't like him. And he introduces him and his brothers in like his other siblings in the weirdest way possible. Like there's one scene when he first gets on screen, he basically slides down to a hill and like says to his friends,
Listen up, guys. You know, I'm Quinn. This is my bro Chase and my kid sister Maria.
It's in a way where it feels like clearly the writers were just like, oh man, the audiences don't know these people's names. How we do it? Let's introduce them. Like, yeah, let's just do that. But there's better ways to do that, you know. There's also this new character called Fong, who's basically a rabbit, who's voiced by Bling Bling Boy from Johnny Test. The character's still bad though. Now we get the antagonists. Are they anything in this movie? We got the mayor, who's basically there for like 10 minutes. And then we got the hockey people, who are also in for like 10 minutes. And like they show no personality whatsoever. Now, and then there's Stan. I hate him. I hate everything about Stan. He is so hateable that I cannot seem to even like him as a character. And I know like he's trying to learn how to be a good person, but he's still hateable. And that was Norman Reedus 2 Keys to the Kingdom. A movie that for some strange reason have found the way to make this movie worse than the first one. but it feels like they didn't just want to stop there. Two terrible movies weren't enough for them. So they decided to make 2 more. Now, if I'm being honest, Norman North Keys to the Kingdom may be the best out of any of these movies. So awful, 0 out of 10. But I guess it's slightly better than the other 2 just by one factor. The animation. Now, there's a reason why this one looks different than the other ones. Because for this film and all the other ones from this point, they got this studio to help them out called Dream Factory. And the work that they did is actually not terrible. It's actually nice. The main identifying thing that you see was improved was the textures. Like, you can see, like, the skin, the hair, the clothing, and the backgrounds detail. You can see that they put effort into it, and it's pretty good actually. It's not terrible, but it still wasn't able to save the movie. Unfortunately, despite some of their good parts, they still couldn't make up for the garbage they were given. The backgrounds, despite some of them getting some texture, most of them just kind of looks the same and they blend into each other, especially with the eyes, but that's a problem with the next movie. Character animation feels a lot more weird now, especially when it's trying to do slapstick, and the character designs actually look worse, but not in the way you expect. The designs themselves don't look worse, it's how they're put out. Since that, like, now we have those textures or whatever, and you, like, see the skin on the characters, it makes it feel uncanny. And also the effects are bad. But yeah, and it's kind of sad because I think Dream Factory can actually make something good. But now let's get on to the story. Now, it also has the same problem with the other stories, which I'm now going to call the 2 movies in 1 syndrome. And this one, I mean, it's not the worst out of this problem, because now it just feels like 2 subplots. But it still feels kind of bad. At the very beginning of the movie, I think it's gonna be about, oh, there's like this wedding that Norm's grandfather wants to set up, and he wants to get married. But for some strange reason, it gets ditched for this other story when Norm's finding like this archaeologist or whatever trying to like get this artifact for some reason, and basically this bad guy dude decides, oh, I'm gonna steal it because I want it. And basically Norm goes on like this adventure to go return the artifact to wherever it needs to go, and which deals with the side plot of the other members of the Arctic and Norm's family setting up the ceremony or wedding or whatever. Now, that alone is bad, and the pacing it makes it worse. But what also makes it feel pretty bad is the fact that this movie is boring. It is probably the most forgettable movie out of any of these. It actually kind of ruins its favor for like the animation, because this movie like has some action scenes in there, but they're so forgettable. Also, the humor is pretty bad. They have like this one joke like halfway through the movie, where basically Norm goes on this airplane and says,
Here's Normie!
I remember when I watched that, I went outside, sat there for 15 seconds and thought about what I just saw. Then I went back inside, clicked play, heard it again, and went back for another 30 minutes. Characters, let's go. Yeah, we got all the returning characters, still bad, except for one, Quinn. He got worse in this one. He didn't repeat his trait of him being embarrassed, no. Because he's basically now Stan from the last movie. Where basically, he feels like he's the best, and he's at the top, and that, ooh, just because I was left in your tribe, you all gotta obey me, Now we got some of the new characters. We got this archaeologist dude that we see at the beginning of the movie. And he's only in the beginning. Now we got his nephew, which they meet. Now, I have a personal problem against him. Him alone isn't bad. He's just bland and forgettable. Like, I barely even remember a single line that he said in the movie. But the reason why I don't like him is who he's voiced by. He's voiced by Vincent Tong. And people who may know me know that my favorite TV show is Ninjago. And my favorite character is a character called Kai. You wanna know who he's also voiced by? Vincent Tong! A character from my favorite show played a character in a Norman North movie. This makes me very angry and very upset. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, Fong, the character that was introduced in the second movie, he's also voices a character from Ninjago, but he's like a minor character. His name is Cyrus Borg. But I kind of let it slide because, one, he's a minor character, and the actor actually plays a bunch of roles, so I kind of let it slide. But still, that further proves my point how I believe that this series is trying to find its way to make me feel torture as much as possible. Now we got the villain of the movie. He's basically the most generic British villain you can literally think. He got the mustache, he's the adventurer, he has the pets, he got almost everything that's ripped off the book. And he's also voiced by another character from Ninjago, as he is that voice actor of Pythor. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's it. That's pretty much it. That's the movie. Feels like kind of like a waste of potential of a good animation studio and good voice actors. And they wasted it on this. But now we got the latest movie of the franchise, Norman North Family Vacation. Now the animation isn't as bad as the first two, but it's worse than the third one. It's made by the same studio, Dream Factory, but it feels like all the minor problems that I may have had or like amplified in here. The backgrounds definitely looked like they're almost exactly the same because it now has like a bunch of ice, and I swear they blend into each other, and I couldn't even tell like what's the ground and what's the walls. Character designs feel weird now as well, and also the effects, but also with the backgrounds. Inside the movie, they go to like this neon city with like a bunch of lights, and it is really saturated. Like, it is saturated like a lot. It feels weird. Now we got the story. So basically, guess what it has? The 2 movies in 1 syndrome. And now it's basically at the very beginning of the movie, you think, oh, it's basically Norm trying to balance out his job as being a king and him having a family. Cliched. But then they ditch it halfway through where Norm's crown gets stolen, and if Norm doesn't get it back for like a ceremony, they get eternal winter. And that little part alone feels like they just hogged it in for no reason other than to make it like 15 minutes longer and make the climax feel so slow and you just want it to end. Very cliched. But it gets even more cliched when Norm decides I should go on a family vacation with my family, because not only will it make me spend time with my family, it will also I could also maybe find my crown. That's right, everyone, we got a light reveal story. Hallelujah. Yep. Very cliched it is. Indeed. But one part of the movie about the story that I find very weird is that it makes kind of no sense. Like, throughout the movie, you're basically just like, oh, we need to make Norm spend time with his family more, but one, it is his job, you know. I mean, he's literally the king, so he kind of needs to do this, you know. But they make it worse, but it makes it feel a lot more weird. Like, I know, like, it's his job to be the kingdom, but for some strange reason it feels like the kingdom is basically a jerk. It feels like the screenwriters, the kingdom, is just giving Norm pointless plot details, things for Norm to do for absolutely no reason. I don't think anyone would like the kingdom in this. But yet again, it's about Norm hanging out with his family, and his family is also basically just like, oh, forget Norm's job. I mean, I know it's his job, but I want to spend time with him more. Moving on, character time. We got Norm, he's a bubbling idiot, but at least he has something in this one. Basically, he's trying to learn what it means to be a good father, and he like compares himself to like this other father who's like the ruler of like the neon lights place, I guess. We got Quinn, his character reset it again. I think we need to remove the button. I think we do. We got Norm's wife. I mean, at least I'm thankful that she's in this one. But she's basically the character who's just like, Norm, why don't you spend time with me more? I want to spend more time with you, even though I shouldn't, because, I mean, you're kind of stupid and idiotic, but I want to spend more time with you, Norm. But the thing is, my main problem with her is that she's a hypocrite. She basically tells Norm throughout the entire movie why you work so much, but she should be working too, you know. Isn't she supposed to be the queen or something? And the lemmings are also terrible. now we got some of the new characters. We basically got I mentioned him earlier, the ruler, the Neon Lights. Basically, he has like these two twin sons, and he's basically like, oh man, I really want my kids to like me. That's why I made this Neon Lights place. That doesn't make any sense. Because, spoiler alert, the kids, no surprise at all, were the ones who stole Norm's crown. And that part alone, them being the ones who stole the crown, actually makes no sense. Because when we saw them steal the crown, it was one dude. And these two people are twins. Makes no sense. They're also not threatening in the slightest. When Norm comes in and finds out that they have the crown, they basically just like, we give up. The reason why they stole the crown was so they can give it to their father so they can make them feel better. But that makes no sense. Because like I mentioned earlier, the dad basically wants them to be proud of him. And he basically set up this whole Neon Lights place. And they should be. But I guess the kids want to tell their dad that they care for him. And it makes no sense. Because all they had to do was just say, thank you, Father. And speaking of Father, I knew I kind of got sidetracked. But yeah, moving back onto him. Yeah, he's basically bland and generic. And he's also voiced by the actor Sensei Wu from Ninjago. I swear to God! That's Norman North 4. So what have we learned? That this franchise is awful, that's what. So in conclusion, Norman North sucks. But now, let's rank them. Number 4, Norman North Keys to the Kingdom. It's the least painful, but it's also the biggest bore fest in history. Number 3, Norman North Family Vacation. Basically, Norman North 3, but worse. Number 2, Norman North 2, Keys to the Kingdom. May probably be the worst one, but I don't have a personal bias. Not much of a personal hatred to it, so. Number 1, Norman North. It's the reason why this entire franchise exists, and I basically blame it for everything. So, now, like I mentioned earlier, what does the 0 out of 10 mean? Well, it took me a while. And I'll try to sum it up in one word, but I feel like I couldn't. There was no way I can sum up these movies in one word. So I decided, fine, I won't sum it up in one word. So that's why 0 out of 10 now stands for Norman North. I don't think there's a more painful word than that. And that's Norman North. Really bad, and I hate it. And like I mentioned at the very beginning, that whenever a new Norm film comes out, I'm going to review it. And I'm going to relate them to this list. You know what I'm going to do? Is that after this franchise finally ends, I'm going to make one final review. It's kind of like this one, but instead it's going to have all the movies in there. Even though I already reviewed them all, at least by the time I make it. But I'll be looking back at them, seeing if they really are as bad as I remember. But yet again, that's a video for the future. It's going to be a long time. I need to think about what I'm going to do now. How am I going to end this video? And you know what? I think I know.
Yo, I'm here to say something. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of all these Norman North movies. I mean, who in the world asked for these? I sure didn't, or whatever. So this one now, I'm gonna sing a song. Yeah, it'll help me. So I was wondering, why are you here, Normie? I really don't understand why everyone hates you. We laugh at you every time we see you. When will you finally end? How much news are you gonna give us until you stop? Cause I'm always forced to watch them and make me want to turn around and vomit, cause they always seem to suck. Come on, when will you end? Come on, nobody likes you. Come on, everything you make is trash. So I see that you made more movies, but they're going direct to video, I see. But it's pretty low when you can't even get Rob Schneider back. Well, you failed your first try, but got Dream Factory to help you out this time. But even they couldn't save your god-awful franchise. Oh, you're making awful, so will you please stop? Please stop, stop, stop. Come on, why won't you just stop? Come on, we all want you to. Come on, do something right for once. Come on, we really hate you. Come on, very, very much. Come on, everybody hates Norm. We all hate Norm of the North. We 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 all hate. We hate Norm. 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 We all hate. We hate Norm. 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 We all hate. Come on. When will you end? Come on. When will you stop? Come on. Everybody really hates Norm of the North.
You know what, after reviewing all these movies, I think I deserve this.